So, the title probably says Invincible Finale Review. But I'm also going to talk about the episodes after episode 5 because why not? Also, Invincible and Maul were released around the same time, so I might draw comparisons. Good morning to everyone watching this video, and if I'm not catching you in the morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Last time I talked about Invincible, I said power scaling doesn't bother me much. These episodes tried their absolute hardest to make me care.
Don't understand. I'm not supposed to feel this way. How is this better?
This is how you should have felt on Earth.
I need someone to explain to me in great detail how Oliver made Nolan's nose bleed. Nolan tanked an orbital strike cannon in season 1 with just a nosebleed. Is Oliver's punch suddenly orbital strike level? I feel like this happens a lot in TV shows where the second a villain defects back to the hero side, they become dramatically weaker for no reason. I mean, in season 1, they had us believe that Omni-Man could take on anyone and anything. That's what made the Viltrumites scary because he was one of the most powerful ones, and then there are more people like him. Now, I don't think he could fight against Mr. Liu. I think that fight would last for 2 seconds in Mr. Liu's favor. Now, Space Racer exists in the show, and my god, they have to nerf him constantly so he doesn't instantly solve every problem. He has this gun called the Infinity Ray that basically destroys planets, Viltrumites, and pretty much anything else. The only downside is that once it's fired, nothing can stop it. So, in this scene, after it kills the Viltrumite, it just keeps going on and destroys everything in its trajectory, which raises the question, why don't they just lure the Viltrumites somewhere isolated and wipe them out with the Infinity Ray? It would save them a lot in like medical costs. Better question, how do these Viltrumites always manage to fight in the exact one place where the ray conveniently can be used without any collateral damage? I feel like safe locations for that would be incredibly rare in the universe. Well, at least Oliver wasn't beaten to the brink of death, and oh my god, we're doing this again. This poor child gets beaten up for the 50th time in the show. Does everyone know that clip of Robert Kirkman saying he hates how audiences prioritize animals over humans? So he had Conquest kill a dog? Does this mean he also has a personal vendetta against children? Now, despite what everyone was saying about Thrag, including Oliver, he actually turned out way more menacing than I expected. Grand Rage and Thrag, I swear I never slandered you, you can check my phone. But despite how intimidating he was supposed to be, some scenes genuinely made me laugh. Like this shot right here. Why does he look like a child that just lost its lollipop? My brother and I laughed so hard that I almost fell out of my chair. Now, I'm not one of those Invincible fans that constantly complains about the animation. Half the time, I don't even notice the PNG flying scenes until someone points them out. But episode 7 took PNG flying to a whole nother level. It was so painfully obvious. Personally, I think it's ridiculous that one of Amazon's biggest animated shows reportedly has such a limited animation stuff. Like, only 4 animators? The bigger issue is that so much money clearly goes into hiring A-list actors instead of expanding the animation team. Look at serialized animated shows like The Legend of Korra or Maul. It has great animation, strong voice acting, and the production quality is consistent. Meanwhile, the Invincible animators are expected to deliver an entire season in about a year with good animation. I mean, this is insane pressure for anyone. At that point, I can't even get mad at the animation itself because I just feel bad for the people working on it. And somehow, they still keep announcing more celebrity voice actors after being aware of the constant complaints. At this rate, season 5 is going to be a PowerPoint presentation. And I think the chemistry PPTs that I learned from are probably animated better. Now, episode 8 was underwhelming as a finale. Don't get me wrong, I like the episode itself. I don't think a finale has to have gore or Mark getting beaten up every second, but it needs to have some kind of dramatic effect, which this episode lacked, except for Thrag's jump scares, which also kind of got repetitive. Honestly, episode 7 could have worked better as the finale, ending on a cliffhanger of the Viltrumites arriving on Earth would have been way stronger. Then, episode 8 could have opened the next season and showed the aftermath back on Earth. Also, I'm still holding out hope Debbie doesn't get back with Nolan, but at this point, it kind of feels inevitable.
I am inevitable.
Now, after Eve tells Mark how awful things were while he was gone, Mark starts crying about being a terrible boyfriend. And look, okay, I'm all for accountability, but Eve once again ends up comforting him while she's the one struggling. This dynamic is starting to get annoying because her emotions keep getting sidelined to reassure Mark. Maybe Amber wasn't the problem. I think the other problem I have with Mark is how they have him constantly talk about how bad he has it and how much he suffers. I mean, at the start of season 4, I don't even know why he's upset or angry. Not one soul blames him for conquest. Everyone constantly praises his effort. So why is he so upset? And let me just show you an example of what I'm trying to say here. Now, characters like Maul or even the clones have so many things to mourn. Both have the theme of losing brothers and people close to them. The viewers are well aware of this, but the characters never acknowledge it. Instead, these mistakes subtly influence their future decisions and their moral values. When they finally acknowledge all they've lost, it gives it a greater sense of anguish. This is also the reason a lot of people aren't fans of characters like Jason Todd. Now, I think the idea of Bruce's habit of recruiting children finally being scrutinized is an amazing plot, story wise. I could talk about why the idea of Red Hood makes so much sense realistically. However, Jason Todd's writing is often unbearable in canon retellings. It has him constantly pine about dying and centers the entire story around that one incident instead of his character growth. It's also why most Red Hood fans often prefer his fanon stories, as those involve him not repeating the same mistakes as Batman and actually growing as a character. Personally, the line in Under the Red Hood where he says, "No dealing to children," reflects this greatly as he grew up on the streets of Gotham. This is why Nightwing fans prioritize him over Red Hood. He takes all the problems he had with Batman and turns that into a character trait where he is constantly looking out for his siblings, making sure that he is there for them when Bruce is emotionally unavailable. The writers make that same mistake previously mentioned with Mark Grayson. He never learns from his mistakes. He just constantly receives emotional pep talks from Eve and his mom, and wait a minute. Did I just explain the plot of CW Flash? Ah, I see the criticism. Also, I cannot explain how much I miss Cecil and Donald. These last few episodes made me realize I might actually be watching Invincible just for their dynamic. Although why Mark never confronted Cecil about conquest, I will never understand. I stopped questioning things in this show. Now, after all these complaints, will I still be tuning in for season 5? Absolutely. I definitely will. I need to see this train wreck through to the end. And to be fair, the social media admins for this show are genuinely hilarious. They are part of why I watch this show. The running gag of Conquest constantly returning gets me every single time. Anyway, that's all for today. Stay whelmed, and as a friendly reminder, always look behind you because you never really know who's watching.